All right. What's going on, everybody? Hope you guys are enjoying your day. So, Ravens flock, it's been a while, but finally, the Ravens are back in the bank. They've been on the road for the last couple weeks, first in Detroit, then in Denver, but finally they are back in the bank for another Ravens game. And what a way to be back with yet another primetime game. Our second home game is the second primetime game on our schedule. What a way to bless the Ravens fans, you know. Being away from the stadium last year, not being able to have fans, all of a sudden we get fans back, and the first two home games are primetime games. Man, Ravens flock is blessed for that. But yeah, we got another primetime game here. Obviously, we enjoyed our first one being Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs, but we got the W. Let's go. So now we got our second primetime game here against an old foe that Baltimore knows well, the Indianapolis Colts. I'm not about to get into the history with the Colts. We're not about to do that here, but longtime Baltimore fans know about that. I don't think the pain goes away for them. But hey, the Ravens are good, so it's all good. But yeah, Colts coming to Baltimore for Monday Night Football at the bank. It's going to be great. It's going to be special. Cannot wait to see this game going to go down. I can't. Just excited, guys. I'm just excited to see another primetime game for the Ravens. Many more to come. But yeah, this should be an interesting one. I can't lie. This game would have been a lot more exciting for people if the Colts were the team we expected them to be. You know, I thought the Colts were going to be a really great team that could potentially contend for a playoff spot and maybe even contend for a Super Bowl. However, we all knew it came down to the quarterback situation, and Carson Wentz so far this season has kind of been an issue. Overall for the Colts, it's been an issue with inconsistencies as well as injuries. Injuries have played a big factor as to why they have a losing record right now. So yeah, not to mention Carson Wentz, he's constantly dealing with injuries, and then when he's on the field, he's been inconsistent. So that's where it's been a problem. He had his best game, arguably, of the season last week when they got their first win against the Dolphins, so good on them. Maybe they needed a win like that to get them back on track. So going up against a team like Baltimore, if they can get the win, it'll definitely help them. But yeah, it's hard to look at this matchup and compare it to the other primetime games because tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football, Rams and Seahawks, that's an NFC West matchup. Then you got Sunday Night Football, Bills, Chiefs, a rematch of the AFC Championship game from last year. So we're kind of the primetime game that people want to watch, but not in comparison to the other two. We're like the least watchable one. But it is what it is. The Colts are still a tough team. When they're healthy, they can play solid. And again, who knows? Any given Sunday, though this is Monday night. So we'll see what the Colts have to bring. It's going to be an intense matchup. Ravens looking to get their fourth win on the season, move up to 4-1, and continue to stay up in that area at the top of the AFC North, because you got to keep up with Cincinnati and Cleveland. So let's see what's going to happen here. What do we got to do to win this game, guys? Because that's the main focus. We already know it's going to be an exciting game, an entertaining game, but what do we need to do to get the job done and increase our record to 4-1? Well, let's start with the defense because that's the easier part of the two. Defensively, what do we have to do? Number one, stop the run. We did not do a great job stopping the run last week against Denver. That was something that we had a bit of an issue with. Normally we don't, but we had a bit of an issue with it last week. We've still been really good on the season in terms of stopping the run, but in that game against Denver, we didn't do the best of jobs there. So we want to be able to do that this week. Not to mention you're having Jonathan Taylor come out for a game where he rushed for over 100 yards on the Dolphins defense. So we got to make sure we can slow him down. That's going to be the number one thing, because if the Colts can get the run game going, it's going to help out Carson Wentz a lot. So the number one thing our defense needs to do in this game is stop the run. If we can stop the run, we put more pressure on Carson Wentz. Speaking of pressure, the second thing we need to do is pressure Carson Wentz. If you can put the pressure on Carson Wentz, you've got him. Because Carson Wentz has not done a great job against pressure. And if we can pressure him in this game, we can force him to make mistakes and potentially turn the ball over, which is exactly what you want to do. Carson Wentz has shown inconsistencies throughout the season, so putting pressure on him will definitely help towards, getting extra possessions for our offense. So really, that's what we got to do. Not much this week for the defense to do. Of course, we got to focus. Got to make our tackles, because tackling is a long-going issue that we're having. We're trying to improve on that. So obviously, make your tackles. Don't let the receivers get off. Don't let anyone get behind you guys. Make sure no big plays are given up. That is definitely something we want to continue to do and continue to work on. But the main focus of this game, stop the run, Put the pressure on Carson Wentz. If we can do those two things, we will force turnovers and we will stop them from scoring. That's really what the defense needs to do. If we can have a game like that, it'll be smooth sailing for the Ravens. Switching over to offense. Well, in terms of execution, I know what we need to do. But I think this is an interesting week here, and it's time to talk about Greg Roman a little. I spoke about this in my video when I was talking about the Ravens passing game making strides. I gave credit to Roman because of what he's done. In terms of the passing game, I give that all to Keith Williams and T. Martin. What they've done with this passing game in terms of the schemes as well as helping out the receivers with their route running has done wonders because our receivers have been getting open. Hollywood Brown has been doing nothing but getting open all season. So the work that's been happening with our receivers in the passing game, I attribute that to T. Martin and Keith Williams, not Greg Roman. Where Greg Roman comes in is the play calling. That's where I give him his credit. And to be honest, guys, Greg Roman this season, he's done a pretty good job with the play calling. The only time I had a problem with his play calling was week 1 on Monday Night Football to start off the season against the Las Vegas Raiders. I did not like the play calling in that game. But after that, he's been good. Week 2 on Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs, we knew the Chiefs did not have a good run defense. So we knew the objective going into that game was to stick to the run the football, expose their run defense, don't go away from it. That's exactly what Greg Roman did. Despite the fact that we were down by double digits, he didn't go away from the run, and ultimately that's how we ended up winning the game. Next week against Detroit, one thing he had to do was test out that secondary because the Lions secondary wasn't great. He did exactly that. The execution didn't go well. We know why. We're not going to talk about that. We're past that. But the play calling was good. We knew you had to test out the secondary here. Greg Roman did that, and that's the main reason why we were able to get the win. Obviously, Tucker kicking field goal was also a great thing, but in terms of play calling, Greg Roman did a great job there. Then last week against Denver, Denver zoned in on stopping the run. So what did Greg Roman do? Knowing they were going to do that, instead of trying to continue to force the run, he decided, let's air it out with Lamar. Let's test their secondary. Let's run this pass game. And that's what he did. The play calling adjusted to what the Broncos defense did. So Greg Roman this season has been doing a good job with the play calling. Give the man his credit. I've had some issues with him. I still do have issues with him, but he's done a great job. This is where his play calling is going to come into test this week, because when it comes to the Colts defense, they have a solid run defense and a pretty good secondary. When healthy, of course. So I think this is a week where you're going to want to see what Greg Roman can do in a play calling in terms of adjustments. The main focus for the Colts coming into this game is to stop our run game. They're going to do what Denver did. They're going to focus on zoning in, everybody sticking to their assignments and stopping the run game. They're going to force us to pass this football. And of course, if you've seen how it's going this season, we're truly becoming that balanced offense where we can attack you in multiple ways. If you decide to focus on the pass and you let us take off with the run, we are going to run the ball down your throat. If you decide to zone in on the run, we will air it out with Lamar and these receivers. So we're now getting that balance in the offense. This will be another week to test that out. If they decide to stop the run, Greg Roman needs to adjust his play calling to air it out against their secondary. If they decide to guard the pass, that's where Greg Roman needs to run back to his runs, which we already know he's going to do that. We know he's going to do that because the run game is a specialty. So if they give him any space, if the Colts defense give us any space, Greg Roman's going to run the ball down their throat. They're not going to let that happen, so it's going to be a great game to see Greg Roman make those adjustments in the play calling. If he can continue the way he's playing, I don't think many people are going to have a problem with his play calling. I may have issues with him left and right, but give the man credit, he's done a great job. That's the main focus. Obviously, in terms of execution, it's going to come down to, one, establishing the run game. Because if we can run this ball, it will be smooth sailings for the Ravens. As long as we can run this ball, it would be easy to get this job done. So establish the run. I'm going to be very interested in how they're going to set this up for the run game in terms of which backs are they going to keep. Because again, you got 4 guys. You didn't have Tyson Williams play against Denver last week because you wanted to bring Le'Veon and see what he can do. So you have Tyson Williams, you have Latavius Murray, you have Devontae Freeman, you have Le'Veon Bell. You're only going to be able to keep 3 active. So who is not going to be able to play in this game? That's where it comes into. If you ask me, they're going to bring back Williams because that's their best back at this point. Latavius Murray has done such a great job. He's going to be that number 2 back. and him and Williams are going to alternate. However, for the number 3 spot, I don't know who they're going to pick, but my guess will be Le'Veon, because Le'Veon can be utilized in the pass game. Not to mention, he's been doing a great job in pass protection. He's been blocking very well. Devontae Freeman hasn't really done much, so he's the odd man out, which means I don't see him playing in this game. 3 running backs that may be activated, or at least the ones I expected to be activated and playing in this game: Tyson Williams, Latavius Murray, Le'Veon Bell. That's their 3 backs going forward, most likely. So we got to establish the run game with these guys, try to get them going, try to utilize their skills and get them going in the run game, while also trying to establish the pass game and get the receivers involved. Not going to confirm it. None of us know. We will find out. But the potential is here for these 2 players to return. Rashad Bateman, Miles Boykin. They may make their debuts in Monday Night Football this season. Of course, for Miles Boykin, it will be his season debut. For Rashad Bateman, it will be his rookie debut. Originally, they were going to start on Monday Night Football anyway, because that's what we had week 1. So if they start here, it'll just be like, yeah, we're starting on the Monday Night Football, just not the one we expected to start on. So they'll still start off their season on prime time. So it'll be a great time to bring them back. Obviously, it's not confirmed. It depends on how practice goes this week. If they look great enough to be activated, I'm sure the Ravens will activate them and they'll be able to play in this game. I expect Boykin to be here. I said for Bateman, earliest week 5, latest week 6. So if Bateman's not activated for this game, he's going to play in week 6. That's just how I see it. So I expect to see Boykin in this game. Bateman, I think he's going to play, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll see how it goes. But if they do get to play, expect them to be utilized in the pass game. Lamar Jackson did a great job against Denver in terms of spreading the ball around. He got all his guys, involved. Hollywood Brown had multiple catches. Sammy Watkins had multiple catches. Mark Andrews had multiple catches. James Prochet had multiple catches. Devin Duvernay had multiple catches. We spread the ball around and fed all our receivers. So you bring back Boykin, you bring back Bateman. I don't see why we don't continue that, especially for Bateman. We know the talent he brings to the table. So if he ends up playing in this game, do not be surprised if they're throwing a lot of quick passes to him just to get the ball in his hands. Let him get a quick catch right here, take off for a couple yards, get him comfortable. We'll see what happens. So yeah, in terms of the passing game, just test out the secondary of the Colts, get all the receivers involved. As long as everybody's making their catches, we're going to be just fine. But really, this is a game about establishing the run. If we can establish the run against the Colts, we're going to be just fine, and this will be a game we're going to get. But in the passing game, if they force us to throw, Lamar is more than capable enough of doing that. He's proven it in previous years, but he's definitely proven it this year because he's just airing it out. We're 3rd in the league in terms of 20-plus yard receptions. Can you imagine? In terms of 20-plus yard plays, we're 3rd in the league. And Lamar Jackson is averaging like 12 air yards per attempt. That's the highest in the league. Nobody has over 10. So Lamar is really airing it out and throwing the ball down the field, which is crazy. And it's amazing to see. You can see the improvement he's made, and you can see the improvement in the passing game. Hell, in terms of how much he's averaging this season in terms of passing yards, what was he, like 183 last year? This year he's at like, what, 268, 269 passing yards per game? That's nearly 100 yards to passing increase right there. That's crazy. The passing game has definitely made strides. They've made improvements. Lamar has definitely made strides and improvements. He's throwing the ball down the field a lot more, and he's connecting. And if our receivers can make the catches, he'd be even higher. So we'll see how this goes in terms of the passing game. But yeah, keys to the game for the offense: get the run game going, protect the football as always, don't turn the ball over, and of course, test out the secondary of the Colts by throwing the football and getting all our receivers involved. So yeah, that's what the offense got to do: get the receivers involved, run the football, don't turn it over. Defense, stop the run game, put the pressure on Carson Wentz, force him to turn the ball over. If that can be done, the Ravens will get the win here on Monday Night Football. They will move to 4-1, and we will prepare for the following week, where I believe we will be facing the Chargers. So that will be a great test there. But yeah, in fact, this is it's a 3-game script. Yeah, it's a 3-game stretch here, because we've been on the road for the last 2 weeks. The next 3 games will be at home. So yeah, it's a 3-game stretch where we're going to be at home. And this is the beginning of that. So yeah, next week will be against the Chargers. They'll come to the bank as well. But yeah, if we do what we need to do on offense and do what we need to do on defense, we can get the job done, and we'll get the W here at home for Monday Night Football, move to 4-1, and keep on trucking. So with that being said, what do I expect to happen in this game? Well, obviously, I expect the Ravens to win this game. The Ravens are a better team than the Colts. It's all about execution. You can be the better team, but if you don't execute on the plays, it's not going to matter. So I expect our receivers to be catching the football. I expect Lamar to test out the secondary. I expect the running game to get going in this game against the Colts. I expect the defense to put the pressure on Carson Wentz and to slow down the run game as much as possible. If I was to give a prediction here, I could see with the way the Ravens defense is playing, with the inconsistency of the Colts, I think this is another game where we could break 30 points. I could see the Ravens winning 30-17. I think the Ravens can win 30-17 against the Colts. I don't like doing score predictions because, it's just weird. The one time I got the score prediction right, it was opposite. And I'm never going to forget it. 2018 against the Kansas City Chiefs, I said we were going to win that game 27-24. The final score was 27-24. We just had the 24. So ever since then, I don't like predicting scores. But yeah, I think the Ravens are going to win this 30-17. I can see Lamar throwing a couple touchdown passes here. I could see Le'Veon Bell getting a little bit more involved because Tyson Williams and Latavius Murray, they've been doing a great job. So we may see Le'Veon Bell get a little bit more involved in the run game and start getting involved in the passing game. Lamar may be checking the ball down to him as well. Defense, I see them continuing their streak of what they're doing in terms of trying to get to the quarterback, putting the pressure on, and I can see a couple sacks. Last week against Denver, they got 5 sacks. I could see 2 or 3 in this against Carson Wentz, maybe even more if the pressure really starts to get to him. And I think I could see a turnover or 2, maybe 1 or 2 interceptions here, or potentially a fumble. So I can see maybe 2 turnovers here. I think the defense is going to do a great job trying to slow down Jonathan Taylor and putting the pressure on Carson Wentz. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I got the Ravens winning 30-7. Should be a great game on primetime. The Ravens will move on to 4-1. And then they will prepare for the Chargers, which will be a huge test because the Chargers have been great this season. But yeah, that is pretty much all I got for this preview. We'll see what happens on Monday night. And with that being said, that is all I got. And I'm out of here, man. Peace. Go Ravens. Let's get this one on Monday night.